Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda N, and this is my place to talk about weird, creepy, and unknown topics. A little bit of a disclaimer here, my doggo is right next to me today, so I apologize if you hear her at all throughout the video. But today we're going to be talking about alleged time travelers. Now, I know this might seem a bit more obviously fake compared to the other topics I've discussed on this channel so far, but someone I know actually recommended this one to me, and it still seemed like a fun video to make anyway. Plus, after recently finishing up the video on adrenochrome, I figured something a bit more lighthearted may be in order. So, proof of time travelers. What evidence have people found? Well, according to one of the more popular and recent articles out there, there's photos of time-traveling hipsters, or people that appear on their phone. There's even supposedly a 500-year-old statue of an astronaut. And at first glance, these photos are compelling. Maybe not that time travel exists, but strange anomalies. However, for the time-traveling hipster anyway, it's just a matter of strange fashion. If you saw someone walking down the street in avant-garde futuristic dress, they'd stand out. But they wouldn't be a time traveler, just a weirdo, or maybe someone fashion-forward. And that's exactly the case here. The guy stands out, especially for the 1940s, but that's as far as the story goes. According to Snopes, the idea that the man in the photograph is a time traveler hinges on 3 items he's seen wearing or holding that appear to be of too modern a vintage for the 1940s: a logo t-shirt, a small portable camera, and wraparound sunglasses. But all of those items were readily available in the 1940s. His t-shirt, for instance, bears the logo of the Montreal Maroons, a temporarily appropriate hockey team that played in the NHL from 1924 to 1938. Glasses with protective side shields were also available in the 1940s. While the style of eyewear wasn't widespread, it is more plausible that the photograph shows a man of his time with unusual fashion sense rather than a time traveler. The final nail in this time traveler's coffin comes to us courtesy of Kodak. While many viewers assume that the camera that the man is shown holding is simply too small to have existed in the 1940s, Kodak did in fact make several portable cameras that were available in 1941, such as the following. All in all, this one's pretty easily debunked. Even though no one else in the photos is wearing sunglasses or a logo t-shirt, it doesn't mean they didn't exist. Whoever this was, he was just ahead of his time. Plus, as is especially the case with these next photos, we also have to consider that some of them are blurry or maybe cropped. For example, if you look at the photo from the 1962 World Cup on pocket lint, the bottom center appears to show a man with a flip phone. It doesn't look like it could be anything else, right? At least in our minds. But that's because flip phones make far more sense as opposed to box cameras. I mean, seriously, I've never seen a box camera in person before, but I owned a flip phone throughout most of high school. I'm not that old, I swear. I just didn't really like smartphones when they first came out. Thankfully, because the World Cup was a documented event, there's other, larger photos that exist that reveal the entire image, or at least the rest of this guy's hand. I can't blame anyone for seeing it as a flip phone, though. I would too, without any context. But it's important to not jump to conclusions here, and it's a bit cringeworthy when articles call it proof. Sure, they might be joking around, but we know how seriously conspiracy theorists can take these things. At least they were honest about the statue. It seems like the most compelling proof we've seen, but that's far from the truth. Pocket Lint says, in Salamanca, Spain, there's a cathedral with multiple sculptures carved into its side. One such sculpture appears to show the likeness of a modern-day, or perhaps futuristic, astronaut. Considering the cathedral's construction dates back to 1513, people have taken this as proof that time travelers made their way back to that time. However, the truth is, the astronaut is merely a modern addition to the artwork, carried out by Geronimo Garcia de Quiñones during renovations in 1992. As for the next feature in that Pocket Lint article, I'm not even going to entertain it. They mention time-traveling celebrities, which seems so ridiculous to me. I mean, I'm not a celebrity by any means, but I've met a couple people that closely resemble me, or in a blurry photo might look like they could be my twin. We've all probably got a clone out there, and celebrities just have widely recognized faces. So, yeah, needless to say, this one doesn't hold water. It doesn't even make the cut as something worth discussing. However, there's still so many more. Seriously, the misconceptions and assumptions are a bit astounding. Speculation is fun, but if any of these YouTube commenters aren't trolls and really consider this as evidence, we've got some issues on our hands. This kind of reminds me of adrenochrome, actually, and the data void, where real scientists aren't always coming out to address these topics because they seem so ridiculous that it's not worth humoring these people. Another one of these statues, or examples, is a woman supposedly opening a laptop. First of all, who the hell opens a laptop this way? Second of all, it's far more likely that this is a jewelry box, or, I don't know, any other rectangular object that opens. Again, it's because of the modern world we're used to that might make us jump to this conclusion. But projecting the image of a laptop on this ancient Greek statue, no. The theory, proposed by an anonymous YouTuber, still speaking out, ventures that the ancient Oracle of Delphi may have foreseen the invention of laptops and told people about it. Just so we are clear, I'm not saying that this relief was depicting an ancient laptop computer, still speaking out said in the 100-second-long video, Supernatural Powers, Tales of 10 Historical Predictions, but Greek tales about the Oracle of Delphi, which was supposed to allow the priest to quote-unquote connect with the gods and retrieve advanced information of various aspects, made him wonder whether the statue represented a prediction, still speaking out said. In fact, the object depicted on the statue does look something like a laptop, said Jeffrey Spire, the senior curator of antiquities at the J. Paul Getty Museum in Malibu, California, which owns the statue. But of course it's not, Spear said. Instead, the object may be a jewelry box, a shallow chest, or possibly a hinged mirror. We have hinged mirrors from this time period, Spear said. Perhaps it's a box containing incense, although there's no incense burner in the scene, so that could be a stretch. Another historian debunks still speaking out's idea that the so-called laptop has USB ports in its side. The USB ports are drill holes for the attachment of a bronze object, or perhaps a separate piece of marble, said Jeff Hurrett, a professor of art history and classics at the University of Oregon. But the big one we've seen talked about in these YouTube videos, probably the most common I've seen anyway, are the people holding phones. One of the most common examples of this is a woman passing through a Charlie Chaplin silent film. As CBS reported a while back, an Irish filmmaker says he's convinced that the footage from a 1928 Charlie Chaplin film shows a woman talking on a cell phone, and that after considering all the possibilities, the only one that stands up to reason is that the woman is a time traveler from the future. The video has gone viral, viewers are now deciding for themselves, and many have taken to picking apart George Clark's earnest declaration that the lady in the DVD footage of The Circus is sporting an iPhone or Droid. The most popular theory right now is that she's holding an early hearing aid. Yes, they did exist in 1928. Check out the people in This History page on Simon's website using a compact pocket-sized carbon microphone amplifier device developed in 1924. And if it is a cell phone, who is she talking to? It's not like there were other people with cell phones, right? Or is the cell signal traveling back to the future through time and space so she can tell everyone how great it is in 1928? The first cell tower wasn't even built until 1977, so how would it even be possible that these cell phones worked? Who was she talking to? Another time traveler, and there happened to be a cell tower nearby that no one was aware of? It just doesn't add up, and that, to me, discredits just about every video out there that has people with these cell phones. What about a hairbrush, a hearing aid, a mirror, a handbag? Because footage is blurry, it's almost impossible to distinguish these differences, but because it looks as if it could be a cell phone, people leap to these conclusions. Now, although this Charlie Chaplin business sparked a brief internet debate in 2010, the laptop statue was in 2016, and the entire Pocket-lint article was only this past April, 2020. It seems like every few years there's a new article or theory like this popping up. And sure enough, they'll say that it seems hilariously unlikely that celebrities can time travel, but they still say that it could be proof time travelers exist every time someone has their hand to the side of their head. This doesn't mean I'm trying to squash people's fun. It's entertaining to think of this Greek statue holding a laptop, and it could make for some hilarious memes, so there's no harm in that. But it's important to see it as just that, entertainment. So let's just be careful and not call this evidence or proof that time travel exists, because it's going to take a lot more than this easily disproven bit of proof to actually convince the world. But with all that said, that's where I'm going to end today's video. Let me know if you liked it. I'm actually considering doing a follow-up where I discuss people that have claimed to be time travelers themselves. So if that's something you're interested in, I might do that. Be sure to give this a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you're new. I'm pretty new to YouTube, so I could really use some help with my channel growing. And with all that said, have a good one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!